Okay. Thank you, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pete Bowyer, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here to today's press conference. Appropriately enough, in the tallest building in Hong Kong, so pretty much the closest place around here to space itself. The weather has not been very good for the last couple of days, so really appreciate the effort you've made to join us today. And I'd also like to welcome people who are joining us via the live stream from all across the world. We're here to make some important announcements about the future development of Asgardia, just 8 months after we first launched the idea in Paris last year. And as such, we're joined by a distinguished international panel of speakers, who I'm delighted now to introduce. Firstly, Dr. Igor Ashurbeyli, head of Asgardia Nation. Dr. Ashurbeyli is a scientist, a businessman, an innovator who holds a PhD in engineering with a specialization in computer science. In 2010, he was awarded Russia's highest honor for scientists, the State Science and Technology Prize, given to him for his achievements in the development of a new generation of microtechnology communication systems. In 2013, he founded the Aerospace International Center in Vienna, Austria. In 2016, he was awarded Gold UNESCO Medal for the contribution to the development of nanoscience and nanotechnologies. He's also served as the president of the UNESCO Encyclopedia of Life Support Systems Subcommittee on the Science of Space. Dr. Igor Ashurbeyli. To Dr. Ashurbeyli's left, my right, is Mr. Jeffrey Manber, CEO of NanoRocks since 2009. In 1991, Jeffrey carried over the first commercial contract between NASA and the Soviet Union to use Soyuz as an escape vehicle for the space station Freedom. As CEO of Mir Corp, which leased the Russian space station Mir, he oversaw the first and only commercially funded manned mission of over 70 days to the Mir space station. He has also co-developed the first dedicated fund to commercial space on Wall Street, Shearson Lehman, and was served as an advisor to numerous companies and governments all across the world. Welcome, Jeffrey. Last but not least, to Dr. Ashurbeyli's right is Professor Ram Jakku, Director of the Institute of Air and Space Law at Mcgill University in Montreal, Canada. Currently interim director, awaiting a new director at the centre. Dr. Jakku received his doctoral degree in space law in 1984 on the Dean's Honours List from McGill, and was the first director of the Master of Space Studies programme of the International Space University in Strasbourg, France. Professor Jakku teaches and conducts research into international space law, law of space applications, law of space commercialization, and government regulation of space activities. He received a Distinguished Service Award from the International Institute of Space Law for significant contribution to the development of space law. So a very distinguished panel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted they're here to join us today. Okay, now without any further ado, I'd like to ask Dr. Ashurbeyli to make some opening remarks. Igor.
Okay. Do you like Gollywood pictures about the horrors? So it's a different type of horrors. For example, when you come to unknown country, and first time in Gongkong, and you go to the restaurant and you found that your waiter and you have no common language. So, and the menu is in, for example, Vietnamese language. So it's horror if you are hungry. I have this experience yesterday evening here. And the second type of horror, I think, if somebody try to explain you something seriously, but with this terrible level of English language which I have. But I have magic paper in English. I finished to work with it at 7 o'clock in the morning, so I just have to read what is it in this magic paper, and after that my assistant Alexander will help me to answer your question. I will answer in Russian and she will translate you what I can to answer. So the Asgardians, not only Asgardians, because here I think it's a very not very small quantity, not a lot of Asgardians here, but in any case, I want to start to say dear Asgardians and all the guests who are following us online. I hope we have somebody online.
Well, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Thank you for your time and attention which you are giving our second Asgardian press conference today. The first, thank you for your time. We are giving the second Asgardian press conference. The first one took place in October 12 in the City of Freedom in Paris. The location today is also selected for different reasons. One is because Gongkong is one of the biggest international financial and commercial centers in the world, and also the biggest population of Asgardians today lives in the People's Republic of China. China is number one. We have about 25,000 Asgardians live in China, and more than 1,000 of them live in Gongkong. That's why today we are here and this is an additional reason for our respect for your choice, for their choice to be Asgardians. There are several tasks in front of this press conference. Firstly, I will tell you briefly about the main results that were achieved in less than 7 months since the day Asgardia was announced. First, in the first 40 hours, only 100,000 Earthlings was registered as Asgardians, and in the first 20 days, the total number of the registration went above 500,000 people. And after that, we had to stop taking new applications and switch to the next second level of verification. We have excluded minors who registered without the permission of their parents. Yes, it was a lot of children between first 500,000 people of Asgardians. After that, we excluded duplicate applications from the same people, and also those who decide not to provide us additional personal information which was necessary about themselves, and various bots. Bots? You say bots? Bots. Okay. This is not the last step of verification before using ID cards and ultimately receiving Asgardian passports. So it will be 4 stages of verification. Now we finish the second one. In summary, by the unified voting day on the June 18th this year, so it will be a few days later, now we have about 200,000 Asgardians from more than 200 countries who have already passed the second level of verification and received their personal certificates of Asgardia. Second, we registered the non-governmental, non-profit organization Asgardia in Vienna. It is a prototype of our future state where officials of Asgardia will be working starting 2018. This entity will be the legal owner of all Asgardia property. This will remain the case until Asgardia becomes a UN, United Nations recognized nation. Immediately after that, all the NGO Asgardia property will be transferred to the state of Asgardia or to the nation of Asgardia. Vienna was chosen because Austria is a neutral state which is not a member of any military political alliance. Also, Vienna is a location of the United Nations branch, which is responsible for. I try to improve my English during speaking. Sorry. This will remain the case until Asgardia becomes a United Nations recognized nation, and immediately after that, all the property will be transferred to the state of Asgardia. Later. Vienna was chosen because Austria is a neutral state, which is not a member of any military political alliance. Also, Vienna is the location of the United Nations branch, which is responsible for space matters. And another reason is that the Airspace International Research Center, AIRC, which I have founded, is for the initial stage the main and only sponsor of Asgardia. The third point. I'm not sure that it's already active, but today new update www.asgardia.space site is being launched right now, and we encourage you to visit it and share your proposal how to improve it, because it will be the official, it's already have to be the official site of Asgardian nation. 4. A new national calendar of Asgardia has been approved, and the first 3 national holidays. In Gregorian calendar it is October 12th, the date of birthday of Asgardia. The second is December 31, it's year day, and June 18, it's Asgardian National Unity Day. It will be a few days later when you, I hope, all Asgardians will vote for Asgardian Constitution and for Asgardian unity. 5. Now Asgardia trademark is registered in the appropriate classes in Europe and the USA and in other countries, and this work is ongoing. I think that most of you know that the contests for the flags, the coat of arms, the anthems of Asgardia are finished. In total, around 8,000 entries from 3,600 participants from 135 countries send us their samples of flags, coat of arms, and anthems, and I very appreciate for all of them. And after that, we will give it to our new parliament to make the final decision who will win in all these contests. And the last 7 point, a joint stock company, Asgardia AG, has been registered in Vienna, subject to certain conditions. Any Asgardian can become a shareholder of this company. And the main goal of the company is to collect, analyze, and fund any ideas and startups in the space technology development domain for the benefit of Asgardia, because Asgardia is the country of space ideas and for the benefit of all humankind. And now I would like to invite Jeffrey Yu, my friend and colleague and partner, and Ram, you to say some words in, you know what you have to say. So.
Thank you. Jeffrey.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Igor. One of the things that Igor did not mention, and one of the reasons we're here today, is to discuss that the first presence of the Asgardia nation, we can now say, will be in space this year. And the Asgardia 1 is a small satellite, and I'll talk about that. First, I just want to introduce you to my company, Nanoracks. We are delighted to be working with Igor, the Asgardia nation, everybody on the Asgardia team. We created Nanoracks 7 years ago to democratize access to space. And we created the company for exactly this sort of purpose. We believed passionately that if you make access to space easier and more efficient, creative ideas would come out that you just could not anticipate. And certainly Asgardia is the most creative, and it may turn out to be the most important and lasting that we're working with at Nanoracks. We're an American company that has opened the door of space to now dozens of companies, organizations, governments, and even schools. We are commercial. We're supported by revenue from our customers with no direct government funding for our hardware. Our research hardware and our services are mostly on the International Space Station. We work via an agreement with NASA. We also work on board Blue Origin's suborbital vehicle, the New Shepard. Our customers are from over 30 nations, including most recently a research project from China, from Beijing Institute of Technology. We have also deployed over 180 satellites, which is the reason why Asgardia approached us. The satellites of our customers have been deployed both directly from the space station and also from the space station cargo ships. And this is exactly what we are doing now for Asgardia. We will be deploying their first satellite, the Asgardia 1, from what's called the Cygnus cargo ship this fall. Let me take a moment and just talk about the satellite. We were tasked by Asgardia to do more than deploy the satellite. Working with our new division, Orbital Bookings, we are the project manager for locating a satellite vendor, securing the necessary licenses, deploying the vehicle, and operating it during its lifetime. We've selected Near Space as our satellite vendor, and Near Space, everything's going well. They're a very respected satellite manufacturing company in the state of Indiana in the States, and everything's going well. The satellite is being developed. It's what we call a 2U, which means it's 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 20 centimeters. Its mass is 2.8 kilograms. It will have 4 deployable solar arrays, 8 batteries, and it's planned to be launched this fall on an orbital ATK OA8 rocket, which launches from Wallops Island. We can go into further technical descriptions, or I guess I can say it will be at an altitude of 450 to 500 kilometers, and the orbital inclination will be 51.6 degrees. So it will be the space station orbit. So everything's going fine. We expect to have the satellite finished very soon, and we'll begin to go through the safety and integration process to get on the rocket and to get through the NASA safety process. And we're just delighted to be working with Asgardia. And I guess one other thing I should say, the chief technical requirement of the satellite, it will have a lot of capacity to store data in low Earth orbit. And Asgardia will be able to store the names, as I understand, of Asgardians and other details, and they'll be able to upload more data during the life of the satellite. And so I think that's a good description of the satellite and what we do. And again, we're delighted to be working and appreciate the trust that Asgardia, Igor, the whole team has put in NRX. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will try to explain some of the legal or regulatory matters related to Asgardia. And I must say first, the most serious and intriguing challenge in the creation of Asgardia refers to or relates to the legal aspects. Asgardia is a unique, long-term vision and deed out of the box thinking, even I will say out of the word thinking. It's admitted that Asgardia will not be easily understood because its creation as a nation is highly innovative and non-traditional in nature and scope. Because people are not used to think about nation in space. That's why it's going to be difficult to understand, and I do understand, and I'll try to explain to that. First, what is Asgardia is all about? What it's going to do? Of course, it has been explained. Let me reiterate it certainly. The main objective of Asgardia, of course, long term, is to promote peace in space and permanent, peaceful settlement in space, expansion of humanity in space, to provide equal opportunities in space for all Asgardians. Here is what I will say, Jeffrey, democratization of space. So people can do things and safeguard all humanity from space originating threats. These and other objectives of Asgardia could be achieved through the creation of this nation. Asgardia will be space nation with governance as a constitutional monarchy. Now, if you are not confused with nation, just think about constitutional monarchy. Why it has to be, and again I'll try to explain to you. The fundamental basis of governance, the government of Asgardia, is the constitution which has been adopted, and that provides you the legal framework or the legal basis of that. Now let's look at what for the space nation. Nation, what does it really mean, nation? Nation in earthly terms, in our past terms, we always think people with the same language, ethnicity, origin, language. No. I think nation from Asgardia perspective means nation of a community of people, of like-minded people with common mission and vision of their collective future. That is the definition nation for Asgardia. In other words, Asgardia will be a space nation that is a trans-ethnic, transnational, trans-religious, ethical, peaceful entity trying to settle the humanity in space. So that means anybody can become a citizen of Asgardia, of course, as Igor mentioned. Minors need the consent of their parents and, of course, have to subscribe to the objective of Asgardia. And space citizenship of Asgardia is a special type of citizenship. It does not substitute dual or second citizenship, but it is a different type of citizenship. And all citizens of Asgardia are equal, irrespective of their earthly attributes. Asgardia respects the laws of all nations and international treaties. Asgardia participates in earthly events similar to earthly states and based on its membership in respective international organizations. There is no place for earthly conflicts in space. Asgardia as a security doctrine is exclusively peaceful and self-protective in nature. The governance is by people. The Asgardia will be governed by people. Those will be participating in the elections of Asgardian governmental bodies, referenda, and interaction with the representatives of in different bodies of Asgardia. National symbols includes national flag of Asgardia, national coat of arms of Asgardia, national anthem of Asgardia. Foreign relations, the main object of Asgardia's foreign policy will be to achieve international recognition of Asgardia, establishing diplomatic relations with the earthly states, opening embassies, consulates, and other states to promote its national interests. The government of Asgardia will be, or the governance of Asgardia will have three components, mainly three components. One is legislative, there's a parliament, the government, which is executive branch of the government, and then is judiciary. The head of nation will be the head of government. Head of nation will be or could be nominated on the basis of genealogy, hereditary, or any other basis for position for election as a head of state, a head of nation. Head of nation is the most senior official of the government, the guarantor of the constitution, who sets the main directions of domestic nature and foreign policy. The parliament, of course, will adopt laws. The government will be the executive branch running the whole nation. And the court system will be for settlement of disputes. Finally, or briefly, the legal and constitutional of Asgardia is unique because of the unique nature of this nation. This system is innovative. As I mentioned earlier, it may be difficult to grasp first time, but it also follows some of the instances, some of the examples or models of governance system which are already in place. Just an example. These examples include the United States government with the presidential form of government, with the separation of powers, that we are familiar with, so that will be sort of followed in Asgardia. United Kingdom, kind of constitutional monarchy. But again, there is something else. The Queen of England is not elected. Possibly here in Asgardia, the head of nation could be elected on the basis of, hereditary genealogy. Now, where that comes from? The election of an emperor or the election of a nation, the election of a monarch. I may remind you, that comes from Bhutan. I don't know, some of you may not have heard the country Bhutan. In 1907, the king of Bhutan was elected. And that has been, you see, that is the only country in the world which determines its well-being on the basis of gross national happiness. Economy is not the only thing. So that means we have picked up the ideas from around the world to come up with the constitutional and legal system of this country. Another example I will say, maybe you have heard or you have not heard, the Sovereign Order of Malta. Sovereign Order of Malta is quite an old institution which was created in 1113. And that is, it has a humanitarian cause serving the needy. And that order has been recognized or has a diplomatic relations with 100 states. It has a observer status with the United Nations. That's another example coming that. So, in a nutshell, Asgardia will have its very special mission with this very special, unique constitutional and legal system. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. Before we invite questions, Dr. Ashurbeyli, I think, is going to take to the lectern to say a few more words just about the future development of the constitution of Asgardia. Thank you.
In conclusion, I would like to talk briefly about the immediate future of Asgardia. First and foremost, I pledge with you to take an active part in the Unified Voting Day and the Constitution Day. It is a national holiday in Asgardia. Second, for the first time in history, every of you, Earthlings, of the first 100,000 Asgardians, how we promised 7 months ago, will be able to place in space on the Asgardia 1 satellite from Nanarax for free 300 kilobytes of data. Whatever comes to your mind, maybe the photo of your little cat or of your neighbor or your mother or your child, whatever comes to your mind. This will be for as long as Asgardia exists. In other words, forever. More than that, please invite your parents, extended family, friends, brothers and sisters, because the other first 400,000 of them will get free 200 kilobytes of data on the same condition. And moreover, another 1 million after this will get 100 kilobytes for free. And it is the first time when it happens in the human history, when not only scientists, not only big bosses and security systems and governments have this possibility to use the memory and to use your information in this space. Now every one of you, 1.5 million people, can do it for free. But after that, free data storage will be closed. These are historic days, and your names and data will forever stay in the memory of the new space humanity, as they will be reinstalled on every following Asgardia satellite, orbital satellite constellation, not only in the nearest space, but also on the moon and anywhere in the universe wherever Asgardia will be. In the nearest future, for those who are beyond the first 1.5 million Asgardians who voted starting today or on the Asgardian National Unity Day, June 18, and up to the closing of the voting, as per my next decree, they will have another chance. We don't say stop. They will have another chance to have their data allocation in the Asgardia satellite knowledge database and receive other services against new charitable contributions or on other commercial conditions. Not for free, like for first 1.5 million. But all this, of course, not the most important thing. On the Asgard first 0001, this is the first day new Asgardian calendar. In Gregorian calendar is the same day, June 18, 2017 of Gregorian calendar. We are voting for the national symbols of our nation. First of all, it is Declaration of Unity, and second is the Constitution of Asgardia, and for flag, and for coat of arms, and national anthem, and to confirm the mandate of the founding father and the head of nation. Without this, we would be a fake nation, a sophisticated computer game. And this is not what we want. We want to build a serious, legitimate, independent, first space nation, which will be recognized by the Earth states and the United Nations, and which is facing towards space and its development. Of course, the baseline documents which were prepared in such short period of time, half a year, and they will cause serious debates. This is the reason why I have constitutionally limited my own authority only to 5-year period. 5-year period only. It is in the constitution. This will allow all Asgardians to thoughtfully define how they see their future and to incorporate necessary changes into the constitution and in the laws of Asgardia. Today I am calling upon everyone to vote for this constitution as it presented. It may change many times, the same as our Asgardian space humanity will change many times. But today we must not waste time. According to our constitution, in only 6 months, we have to form the first parliament of Asgardia, based on the language representativeness principle, not on the governmental principle. And in the 3 months after, the government, the court, the prosecutor's office, sorry for my pronunciation, the National Audit Office, and the other governmental bodies. I say not only for those people who now here, for all who can be Asgardians, girls and guys. Get in gear, roll up your sleeves and make it work, because it's your work, not mine. We Asgardians have a unique advantage. As the founding father of Asgardia, I do not know any of you personally. No one. And none of you knows me personally. This means that there is nothing and nobody standing between us apart from the idea of creating the space kingdom Asgardia. Let's do it together. I am declaring the voting open right now on the new Asgardia website, asgardia.space, and in front of you, I hope that's something inside. Yes. In front of you, in this live event, I want to sign a decree about the date of voting for our constitution. I want to sign it right here. It is decree number 6. I hereby announce the commencement of the preliminary voting period today on June 24 in Asgardian calendar and June 13, 2017 in Gregorian calendar, and during the press conference in Gongkong. I invite all Asgardians to take part in this historical event. The head of nation, Igor Ashurbeyli. And to finish, just 2 minutes, you do not need to go to an election booth. Election booth now. You just stay in the comfort of your favorite gadget and make a couple of clicks. a few of them on your device. And mostly important, only one in your heart. We are one humanity, one unity. We are not the best. We are the future. I embrace all of you and every one of you. Thank you very much. And maybe make a photo with this degree all together. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to now invite some questions to the panel. I'd be grateful if you could state who you are and your affiliation when you ask those questions. As you heard, Dr. Ashurbeili's English is very good, better than he thinks, but he prefers to respond in his native Russian. So his interpreter, Alexander, will provide a translation for him into Russian and into English. So any questions, please? Lady in the second row, please. There's a mic here. Thank you.
Hi, this is Candy Chow from Finance. I would like to clarify one point first. What is the deadline for applying this free data storage? What will be the deadline? And then after the deadline, what will be the charge for having this data storage in the space? And to becoming the citizens of Asgardia, do the citizens need to pay the tax? How could your nation running just by receiving these charges from the space data, or what are the finance for the nation? Thank you.
Thank you. Very good questions.
Thank you. Ну, во-первых, как я сказал, те первые 100 тысяч асгардианцев, вторые 400 тысяч и третий миллион, то есть 1,5 миллиона асгардианцев, они могут зарегистрироваться и пройти верификацию на сайте Asgardia и абсолютно бесплатно получить тот объем памяти на спутнике и получить сертификат Asgardians.
Well, first of all, as I've already said, the first 100,000 Asgardians, then secondly 400,000 Asgardians, and then as a third step 1 million, so altogether this would be 1.5 million Asgardians. They can register and they can go through the process of verification on the site of Asgardia, and then they can get for free the memory on the satellite that they can use.
Это займет, наверное, около месяца или больше, зависит от того, когда это количество асгардианцев достигнет 1,5 миллиона человек. После этого будет сформировано правительство и парламент, и они будут принимать закон о гражданстве в Асгардии, и они будут уже определять, а не я, на каких условиях остальные граждане смогут участвовать в Асгардии. Я, как глава нации, гарантирую, что первые 1,5 миллиона получат это бесплатно. Остальное находится вне моей компетенции, оно находится в компетенции правительственных органов, которые асгардианцы сами и должны выбрать в течение 6 месяцев правительство парламент к концу этого года и еще через 3 месяца правительство.
I assume that this will take 1 month, maybe a little bit later. It will depend on how soon the volume will be reached, so how soon these 1.5 million people will register. And after that, we are going to have a government and a parliament, and it's going to draft a law on the citizenship of Asgardia. and then they will decide on the conditions for the rest of the citizens to participate in Asgardia. But as the head of nation, I can guarantee you that the first 1.5 million people will get free access to the data storage. And everything that goes beyond is not in my authority anymore, because then there will be government authorities who will be elected during the next 6 months. This will be the parliament, and after another 3 months there will be the government that will decide that.
Okay, thank you. Question from the gentleman in the centre there, please.
Hi, my name is Ben Bland. I'm a reporter for the Financial Times. I have 2 questions. The first one, you're here in an expensive hotel. You're about to launch a satellite later this year. Who is funding Asgardia and why? And the second question, from your own data, it seems only 17% of Asgardians are women. So why do so few women want to join your project?
Thank you.
Ну, второй вопрос, наверное, не ко мне, а к женщинам.
Well, regarding the second question, I think you need to ask the women, not me.
По первому вопросу ответ тоже очень простой. Весь проект Асгардии финансирую лично я через свою австрийскую компанию Space International Research Center. И иначе быть не может, потому что иначе мы бы выглядели людьми, которые занимаются краундфандингом или что-то в этом роде. Когда будет сформировано государство и ее органы управления, будет сформирован бюджет государства, тогда, соответственно, из государственного бюджета будет финансироваться проекты Асгардии. А на настоящий момент все финансирование на 100% веду я.
The answer to the first question is also quite easy. Right now I am funding the whole project of Asgardia through my Austrian company, the Airspace International Research Center. And anything else is not possible, because then we would be crowdfunding this. As soon as we have a state and governance structures and a state budget, then this will finance the project of Asgardia. But right now it's only me.
И все-таки, возвращаясь ко второму вопросу, для меня самого была большая неожиданность сначала, что около 80, по-моему, процентов асгардианцев, они мужчины, и меньшая часть женщин. И 70% асгардианцев в возрасте от 18 до 35 лет. Вы можете вот в нашей брошюре увидеть всю демографию асгардианцев, как она есть на сегодняшний день. Может быть, она будет меняться. Ну, у меня нет ответа на этот вопрос. Может быть, мужчин, как более рискованные существа, их влечет космос больше, чем женщин, которые хотят сохранить очаг своей семьи, своего дома. Когда космос станет для нас таким же домом, как и Земля, наверное, число женщин резко увеличится.
I'd like to return to the second question once again. For me, it's also a surprise. 80% of Asgardians are men, and 70% of Asgardians are between 18 and 35 years old. And you can look it up in our brochure, the whole demographics of Asgardia as it is now. It will change maybe in the future, but honestly, I do not have an answer to your question. Maybe the men would like to take more risks, and space is an adventure for them, maybe more than for the ladies, because the women, they want to keep their home safe and protected. But once space will become our home, maybe we will get more women participating in Asgardia.
Okay, thank you. Next question, please. Lady in the black dress in the third row, please.
Hi, I'm Andrea Lowe from CNN. Who are the people signing up for Asgardia and what's attracting them? And in particular, what do you think is attracting people in China to sign up? And also, when do you anticipate that it will officially become a UN nation? Thank you.
Okay, 3 questions there.
Я сказал в конце своего выступления, что уникальность Асгардии состоит в ее идее, поэтому это и есть ответ на ваш вопрос. Мы не можем ответить, кто и почему приходит в Асгардию. Никакой связи между населением страны и количеством асгардианцев мы не смогли обнаружить, потому что, например, Китай на первом месте, и можно это объяснить с населением Китая, но почему на втором месте Турция? И почему только на третьем месте Америка? Почему на четвертом Италия? То есть нет никакой... Наши ученые не смогли обнаружить математически никакую связь между количеством населения страны и количеством людей, которые хотели бы стать асгардианцами. Напомните мне, какой еще был вопрос?
Just take the.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, I'll take the first question. As I said towards the end of my speech, the uniqueness about Asgardia is its idea, so I don't have an answer to you. We don't know who and why registers for Asgardia, because there is no connection between the population of a country and the amount of people who want to be Asgardians. So far, we've seen that China is number one, maybe because of the population, but then second is Turkey, and then the third are the US, and fourth are Italy. Why is that? So our scientists were not able to find out this connection, a mathematical connection between the population of a state and the amount of people who want to register for Asgardia. And could you maybe repeat your second and third question?
It was about when do you anticipate UN recognition?
Поскольку мы идем благодаря господину Рамо очень медленно юридически, чтобы соблюсти все формальности, то вот вторым этапом сейчас является принятие Конституции Асгардии, формирование парламента и правительства. То есть тогда, когда будут сформированы все обычные для обычного земного государства атрибуты государства. Вот в этот момент мы и обратимся к государствам Земли и к Организации Объединенных Наций о признании. Я надеюсь, что этот период будет не позднее весны следующего года, если мы успеем вовремя сформировать парламент, правительство, запустить спутник и создать все необходимые для государства атрибуты.
Thanks to Mr. Ram, our legal processes are rather slow because we really want to observe all rules that there are. And the second stage will be the adoption of the constitution, the forming of the parliament and the government. And as soon as we have all these attributes that are normal and usual for Earth states, then we are going to address the UN and file for the recognition to become a UN recognized state. I think that hopefully this will be by spring 2018, if we manage to have a parliament government and to launch a satellite and to have all the necessary attributes that a state need by then.
Maybe sooner, but like last time it will be in spring. But I hope in this year, but up to God.
Okay, thank you. Lady, just in front in the second row, please.
Hi, I'm a reporter from South China Morning Post. My first question is, you have more than 20,000 citizens in China. How do you reach them? Because in China, people use a different social media and so forth. And second, on this trip, do you plan to do other activities in Hong Kong or China to maybe like connect with citizens offline? And the third question is, in one of the pictures you provided, there is like people living in a spaceship. When do you anticipate like your like citizens will actually move to the space and live there? Thanks.
По поводу общения с асгардианцами, проживающими в различных странах, я коротко сказал о том, что мы будем формировать парламент и по языковому принципу. Поэтому, когда люди сами снизу выберут своих представителей в парламент, они и будут разговаривать с своими земляками на том языке, который им является родным. И таких языков мы планируем 12, в которых будут участвовать те люди, которые признают эти языки как свои родные языки. Поэтому общение будет происходить через представительные органы, которые будут избраны самими асгардианцами.
Regarding the communication with Asgardians, as I briefly mentioned in my speech, we are going to have a parliament that will be shaped according to the language representativeness, and this will be a bottom-up approach. So these will be representatives of the people in the parliament, and these will be the people who speak the native language of the people. We plan to have 12 of those languages, and this will be based depending on the participation of the people who recognized a specific language as their native language. And the communication will be then via those representative authorities that the Asgardians themselves will be electing.
Что касается второго вопроса по поводу то, что мы называем ковчегами орбитальными, это всего лишь один из многих технических вопросов Асгардии, которые кратко были затронуты мистером Джеффри, и мы сегодня будем с ним вечером обсуждать перспективы нашего дальнейшего сотрудничества, но Асгардия будет иметь крупную четырехуровневую орбитальную группировку в космосе и такую же группировку на Земле. Поэтому одной из многих составных частей мы надеемся, что будут орбитальные ковчеги, на которых смогут размещаться асгардианцы. Подробности технические, наверное, должен докладывать министр науки, который у нас, надеюсь, появится осенью этого года. Я не хотел бы забегать вперед по техническим деталям, но планируется, конечно же, создание таких сооружений в космосе и на Луне.
Regarding the second question, we already have something like orbital stations, and this is one of the technical issues that was raised by Jeffrey, and this evening I'm going to discuss with him our future cooperation. In Asgardia, we will have a 4-level orbital station, and just as a large station on Earth, and one of the many components will be hopefully this orbital station for Asgardia. And I think the details, the technical details, the ins and outs, will be defined by the Ministry for Science that I hope we will have in autumn this year, the latest, but I don't want to anticipate any technical details right now. We plan to have the station in space and on the moon.
Okay, was that enough? Gentleman here on the far left as I look at him. In the second row, please.
Thank you very much. Andrew Work. Next change, one of the true signs of real nationhood is covert surveillance by the American government and demands for your citizens' data by the same. For the information, for Asgardians' information that you're going to be keeping, are you going to keep copies in an earthly domain that might be subject to American government requests for that information? Or is it only going to be held on the satellite, and does the Constitution of Asgardia protect the data of Asgardian citizens from requests from other nations?
Thank you.
And maybe the professor from Mcgill might want to weigh in.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's a very good question. And I think you picked up a news which was released earlier. Sometime that. My view is that the data doesn't matter where it is subject to the law of the nation which has jurisdiction and control over that. This Asgardia 1 will be subject to US law. Naturally, it will be subject to US laws with respect to privacy as well as the security interest of the United States. Doesn't really matter where it actually physically is. So the laws applies of the state which has a registration and control, jurisdiction and control over that satellite. So because it is in space does not mean it's outside the reach of US law.
Does Igor want to add anything?
Но еще это не значит, что космос сегодня является территорией США.
And it doesn't mean that space right now belongs to the territory of the US.
Это может регулироваться двусторонними отношениями между Асгардией и US, так же, как и другими странами, которые сегодня имеют доступ в космос. И это может регулироваться законом о гражданстве Асгардии. В любом случае будет найдено правильное юридическое решение этого вопроса, но Асгардия будет стремиться, как записано в ее конституции, к своей полной независимости, в том числе информационной, для своих граждан.
This can be regulated via bilateral agreements between Asgardia and the US or between Asgardia and other states who have access to space. This can be regulated by laws of citizenship of Asgardia, and I'm sure we are going to find the right solutions in legal terms. And also the Constitution, as it is said in the Constitution, we are striving for full independence of Asgardia and also of information for our citizens.
Thank you. Further questions? Lady at the back, on the right. So look, yes. Thank you.
Hi, this is Nina from China Money Network. I have a few questions. Number one is the satellite you're going to launch is quite small in size, 10 centimeter, 10 centimeter, 20 centimeter, and weighs only 2.8 kilograms. So what are some challenges or dangers it faces in orbit? Next question is, SpaceX is the company behind perhaps the really first human habitat in space. So has Asgardia been in touch with SpaceX potentially for mutual recognition or some sort? And finally, just wondering, as the founder mentioned before, what are the real differences between Asgardia and perhaps a virtual reality game or an experiment in the imaginary domain, since there currently is very little human presence in space? Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Regarding your question on the satellite, it seems small. We're used to satellites being bigger, but there's an entire new market and industry now. They're called CubeSats, and they can be 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. That's called a 1U. They can be a 2U, which is the case of Asgardia 1, and they go as big as 6U. And it is extraordinary what can be packed into a satellite these days with miniaturization and standardization. And so there's absolutely no question that the requirements that Asgardia has given us will be met by this satellite. You also asked about the challenges. Well, you always have challenges of radiation. The electronics are special they're meant for space. You have the challenges of getting hit by micro debris. But we have deployed over 180 satellites to date. Some last for months, some have been lasting for years now. So it's, as everything in space, it's a frontier, it's a challenge, but it's a very recognized marketplace now, and we're comfortable with it.
Igor, do you want to take the other question? SpaceX?
Да, по поводу SpaceX, это другая программа, это дальний космос. Мы не занимаемся дальним космосом. Я по профессии инженер, и я привык при своей жизни видеть результат своего замысла. Поэтому все, что я задумывал, оно летает, стреляет, живет и уже существует. И я уверен, что то, что задумано в рамках Асгардии, тоже будет жить еще при моей жизни. Поэтому проекты по переселению 2 миллионов человек на Марс, а также другие такие проекты дальнего космоса, они неинтересны мне. И моя задача, чтобы Асгардия защищала наш дом, нашу колыбель, нашу землю от угроз из космоса, а не стремилась улететь куда-то в неизведанные края, откуда можно и не вернуться.
Regarding your SpaceX question, this is a completely different program. They're exploring deep space. I'm an engineer myself, and I'm used to seeing the results of my work during my lifetime. So everything that I've designed is flying, is shooting, is living, is existing. And I'm sure that in the context of Asgardia, everything that we will design will also come to life during our lifetime. And to settling 2 million of people to Mars in deep space isn't interesting to me. So the task for Asgardians is to protect their home, their Earth, to protect it,
Humanity on the Earth.
humanity on Earth, before the threats of space, and not flying in deep space where you maybe will never return.
Thank you. Any further questions? I'm going to take a couple more and then I'll close it up if there are any more. Looking around. No further questions. Okay. Take the lady again at the front. One more, I think.
One more?
One more, Igor. Go back to the lady at the front.
What will be your comment on the development of the space activity nowadays? Is it going to a peaceful direction? And can you disclose how much is the investment on this satellite?
Ну, во-первых, конечно же, мы говорим только о мирном космосе. Мы говорим о недопустимости переноса в космос земных конфликтов. Мы не хотим видеть в космосе земных границ. Поэтому ответ на первый вопрос, конечно, в космосе мы будем заниматься только вопросами мира и защиты Земли от угроз из космоса, потому что я не могу защитить Землю от угроз от землян.
Well, first question, we already talking about that we want to protect peace in space, and all our projects are peaceful projects, so we may not transfer our earthly conflicts into space. And we don't want to see the earthly borders in space either. So the answer to your question is yes, we will only support peaceful projects in space because we want to protect our Earth and our planet before the threats from space, because I cannot protect the Earth before the threats from Earth.
Not only me, nobody, I think.
Okay. I don't think there are any further questions. It's been a very lively press conference and lots of questions there. Thank you very much for your participation, and also to the panel for making the case for Asgardia and what the future plans are. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.